I would love to introduce now Mark Anthony Johnson, who's going to lead us in training and sustaining the movement and self-care. I know I'm particularly excited for this training. We're really only 2 months into the Trump's presidency and not even there yet. And we need to take care of ourselves so we can be in the, for the long road. Mark Anthony, are you there?
Hey there. How y'all doing? Just feeling so excited and fulfilled by all the speakers tonight. Thank you so much for setting the context and really laying out some of the key targets that we can take on in the coming days. So thank you so much. So my name is Mark Anthony Johnson with Dignity and Power Now. We're a local grassroots organization in Los Angeles that is stopping state violence and incarceration, particularly against Black and brown folks in L.A. And just so you know some of the work that we're doing, we've been fighting for civilian oversight of the Sheriff's Department in Los Angeles. We won that in the sunset of Obama's administration and are currently pushing for more power to oversee what is the largest Sheriff's Department in the country, running the largest jail system in the world. And that's important for us because folks who are coming out of the jails who've experienced a long history of violence by the Sheriff's Department, who've experienced long histories of trauma, are leading this work on the ground. And so for us, wellness is really critical because if folks who are directly impacted are going to be leading the work, we have to have access to wellness services to ensure that our fight is sustained. And we believe that our wellness is actually in direct contradiction to the violence that we're up against. You'll see the 300problematic.org. We ask for your support on a petition we have right now to strengthen local oversight of the Sheriff's Department. The local sheriff has identified 300 officers in his department who have histories of misconduct, and he's trying to get that list to the DA, and the unions have leveraged a local judge to block that list from getting to the DA. And so we would love your support, 300problematic.org, and pressuring that judge to lift the ban. So let's jump in. That's me, just so you know who you're talking to tonight. It's good to see y'all. Let's talk about resilience and wellness. We're going to have a chance to dig into talking about what trauma and resilience is, and we're also going to get a chance to practice right now. And so right now I'm going to ask everyone who's on this call to take a moment and just breathe with me. This is a simple technique that you can use as we're in the tactics, as we're in the strategy, as we're in the back-to-back actions that we're going to be in. We can take a moment to breathe. Our breath is so precious, and if it wasn't so precious, Eric Garner would still be alive. Rest in peace. And so we're going to take a moment to just breathe, and I invite you to take 3 seconds to inhale and 3 seconds to exhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. You can put your feet firmly on the ground, and let's do it again. Inhale. One more time. It's important in these moments of high response and rapid response that we make time to let our bodies know that we can still be our whole selves. And so we're actually going to go a little deeper into this. 5 seconds to inhale and 5 seconds to exhale. Let's try it. 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just getting in touch with how deeply we get to breathe on a daily. Let's do it again. 1. Exhale. And this last piece, what I would invite you to do, once again, you can do this anywhere, allow that exhale to make a sound. Whatever's in your body right now, whatever frustrations, excitement, joy that you've experienced in this call, give it a sound on the exhale. We're going to do it right now together. Inhale, 5 seconds in, exhale out. Just giving ourselves permission to be fully human and fully alive in this moment. So we are doing this work today, and we're going to talk a little bit about trauma in this work. And so trauma is really critical because if we can have a collective understanding of what trauma is, we can build it into the culture of our organization so we understand what's happening. And so trauma is any moment where the real or perceived threat to one's safety overwhelms the body's natural ability to defend itself. And I think it's really critical to understand here that both this threat to our physical, emotional, spiritual safety does not have to be, quote, true, right? As long as I perceive that there's a threat to my safety, or I'm witnessing the threat to somebody else's safety, I can experience trauma. And as long as my ability to fight, flee, freeze, disassociate, and appease my way out of that threat, and if those brilliant fundamental strategies that our bodies use do not work, then we can experience trauma. And I think we can all cite all the examples from the speakers already today about what powerlessness looks like and how we're generating power as we engage in these tactics. And so what we're up against, not just in interpersonal trauma, but in systemic trauma that we're up against, the regular signing of these executive orders, the ICE raids, the incarceration, the slashing of healthcare, the fundamental thread that runs through that is powerlessness, right? And so we want to be aware in which systemic powerlessness that is coming towards us is about producing trauma that debilitates our work. And so our wellness is not only about us taking care of ourselves, but it's also a strategy to generate power and collective power. And so we want to build that into our work and build that into our movements. And we're going to look at how we can acknowledge with that some strategies to do that really live. Here is just a quick thing, question what you cannot see. Even the architecture of what we're up against is designed to induce trauma. This is a picture of the largest jail system in the world in Los Angeles, also the largest mental health facility in the world. And the very architecture of that facility is designed to conceal the types of abuses that are happening on a daily basis inside. And so being aware that trauma is always around us, but also resilience is always around us, and we're going to get into that. Post-traumatic stress. In the wake of trauma, we can experience triggers. All of us are dealing with many systems as we're engaged in this work for healthcare, to protect Planned Parenthood, protect the rights of our folks who are coming into this country, our loved ones. And so we're just going to talk briefly about how post-traumatic stress can show up and what are steps we can take to address them in the work, and also build some strategies into our work that make room for us to be fully human and also still be effective in our tactics. And so here are 3 things you can do to be aware of how you might be triggered in a moment, and 3 steps you can do to address them. 1, sometimes post-traumatic stress shows up as when a memory of feeling unsafe is difficult to ignore, is repetitive, and or makes it hard to focus. Sometimes the memory of something we've experienced shows up, whether we're sitting across from a congressperson, whether we're standing outside of these decision makers on this Thursday coming up, standing outside of their offices, or whether we're on the front lines at a protest and police are there. Anything that is similar in sight, sound, taste, or touch, similar to an original moment of trauma, it can trigger our bodies and send us into a heightened sense of stress or maybe even spiral. But here's what we can do to address that. We can take a moment to ask ourselves or ask someone else who is in our work if the memory of feeling unsafe and the current moment are the same, and just inviting space to have that conversation. We really think it's important to make room for the ways our bodies respond to that. We can identify safety folks in our tactics and let them know, hey, I know that in certain situations this gets kicked up for me. Here's one thing you can say to me that will remind me that I am safe. And if we build this into the culture of our tactics and the culture of our organizations, we can make more space to be effective even when we're getting kicked up. Secondly, sometimes we experience trembling, shaking, or sweating uncontrollably. This is all wonderful news for the body. The body is a brilliant machine that knows how to move trauma through it, except from a young age, we're told, keep it together, stop crying. We get all these gendered messages about what it looks like. And we also have these high expectations of leadership that are also super gendered, also based on narratives of heroism, right? And so what we want to do is really break that down and give ourselves permission, give our bodies permission to take up more space in how it naturally knows how to move through stress and move through triggers and move through trauma. And how we can do that, we can engage in that 5-second breath. And so why don't we try that again right now? Do another 5-second inhale and an audible exhale. And inhale. Once again, in this moment, we give ourselves permission to be fully human and still effective in the work. And you can do this. Give yourself time to tremble, shake uncontrollably, breathe before, during, and after our actions. This lets our bodies know that we don't have to store the energy and the onslaught that's happening to us. Lastly, sometimes we feel physically stuck or frozen. It may be hard to move or even think clearly. Perfectly normal response for post-traumatic stress, right? Perfectly normal response. One thing you can do is find one action that you can do anywhere that makes you feel confident and that makes you feel alive. You can write, dance, sing, work out. You can do those things anywhere, right? For me, it's singing 90s R&B, and so I build that into my routine. Sometimes I'll do it right before we go into an action, you know what I'm saying? And so if we can do that, it not only does it invite our bodies and generate a sense of safety and connection with others who might want to join us in the activity, but it gives us permission and changes the culture of the work that we're constantly engaged in. And so let's talk about resilience. Perfect segue. Resilience is the body's natural ability to bounce back with renewed capacity and purpose. Trauma is always in the room, everywhere we go. And so is resilience. We are tremendously resilient people. All of us who have histories and legacies of being under attack are here because that legacy is one of resilience. And so one thing that you can do is identify one thing right now. Take a moment just to think about what is one thing that makes you feel confident, alive, that also makes you feel connected and safe. Because one thing that trauma does is it undermines our sense of connection to other people and our sense of safety with others. So what is one thing you can do, whether it's sharing a meal with your loved ones, whether it's working out, whatever it is, identifying what that thing is and taking a moment to schedule it into your life, into your work plans, into your campaign plans, into your tactical plans. This is how we generate resilience within our actual work and within our actual movements. And just taking a moment to also acknowledge that the body is super wise. It is built up of some very complicated mechanisms, organs, and organ systems, but fundamentally it knows how to take care of itself. And so if we can create cultures within our work and awareness within ourselves, being aware of what sensations are coming up for us and how we can respond to that using the strategies that I laid out before, using the breathing mechanisms that I laid out before, and scheduling that and building that into the work, we will go a long way to sustaining ourselves in the next 4 years. And we can do this. We can definitely do this. Just a word of resilience to you. Look, they tried to bury us, but they didn't know we are seeds, y'all. And so I just want to give you encouragement and let you know you are seeds, and we have full permission to be fully human in this work, but also strategically effective, but also so deep in the work and so effective in the work that we can still be our full selves. And lastly, not only do we need your resilience and your wellness, we need your signatures. To come and support us, Dignity and Power Now, 300problematic.org. We have this petition up to strengthen oversight of the Sheriff's Department. We know that Jeff Sessions has said that he's going to roll back monitoring of local police agencies. And so we won a civilian oversight agency that is overseeing the largest sheriff's department in the country, running the largest jail system in the world. And this effort, this petition will help strengthen that. And this is being led by folks who experience trauma by local law enforcement and are leading the work using wellness and using direct action and using all the different tactics that make this work alive and sustain us over the next 4 years. So thank you so much to everyone on this call. Really appreciate being here tonight.